Well, all right, everybody. We are here with episode 6 of the Brentley Wright Leadership Podcast. I am so excited tonight about my guest. I'm so glad that she decided to come on. Uh, Let me give a disclaimer tonight. Tonight is not about achievements, success. It is about me taking the journey with my mother. It is me trying to understand my mother more. And I believe that every child needs to know more about their parents' story. And so I know you know a lot about your parent. I really do. I believe all of that good stuff. I believe that you just know some sacrifices that they've made based on what they've told you. But very rarely do you feel you really understand, or maybe were there some misunderstandings, or maybe was there some, some things that just happened. And so tonight, this is me and my journey going along this big old journey with my mother, the queen of all queens, here to end Queen Madness tonight. The woman who has had the most significant major impact on my life because she birthed me and birthed 3 others, my beautiful brother and sisters. She has gotten us through. She's been tough. She's a woman of faith. She's a scholar. And I mean a scholar in the sense of, just being able to be intelligent enough to put things together. My mom is somebody who I believe the world will know about one day. And if not the world, some community, some neighborhood, somebody will be impacted by her influence and her leadership. So tonight we're going to talk about Unglued, how to lead in unexpected circumstances. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen who are watching the Brentley Wright Leadership Podcast, let me go ahead and introduce my mother, Chantel, aka Mom. And by the way, happy birthday.
Thank you so much, son. You know, just don't have me crying right from the beginning. We will never make it through. But thank you so much for having me tonight because you didn't have to do it, but you did. There are so many others who could have closed out Queen Madness and who have accolades and all of these things, but you chose little old me. And so I'm so grateful to share this moment with you, to share this time with you, and to be involved in your life and in what you are doing. I'm so incredibly proud of you as and the man that you have become. So I just pray that God will just give me many, many more years. I did turn 54 on Monday. I'm
Yes.
so excited about that because listen, like the wine and said, millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did. And so God, I thank you. And I asked God on Monday, I said, Lord, let me live because my mom didn't live to see me turn 54 years old.
Mm.
And I said, Lord, let me live to see my each one of my children turn 54. I want to
Mm.
see my kids get old.
Mm.
And so, that's what I would like. But listen, many are the plans of a man, but it's the will of the Lord that's gonna prevail. So, whatever he says, when
Yes.
it's done. And listen, I'm out and I'm gonna see you on the other side. Okay.
There it is. There it is. There it
Thank
is.
you, baby.
Well, first let me start off with this scripture. I think it's important. Uh, Ephesians 6, children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord. For this is right. This is the right thing to do. Honor your mother and father. This is the first commandment with the promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you and you will have a long life on earth. And I just always remember that we found that scripture. You gave us that scripture. We went to churches that talked about that scripture, and it was just something that has kind of always stuck with me. And just in the context of living a life that the Lord pleases according to our parents. But I want to get into a question right quick, because you have made a statement that said, I will never, you don't ever want to go back to a place that I took you. Do you
Oh,
remember when I?
woo, Lord.
So, our power struggle, right? I mean, the power struggle was real. And I know there's, single mothers out there raising sons, and they have this power struggle. So when you reflect on just this power struggle, the intense uh, rebellion that I brought to your doorstep in the home, talk about how I didn't honor Ephesians chapter 6, but by God's grace, been able to come back around. But what was that moment like, in the intensity like, and how were you going through that,
Well, it was like terrible. It really was. It was on so many levels, because you weren't my only child. You were the oldest of four. And so, your brothers and your brother and your sisters always, looked up to you because you were the oldest. I always, if I went to the store or went church or whatever, and I left you guys at home, I always left you in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So, they always had to listen to Brent, and so when that time came, um, it was really hard because I loved you so much, and we had a great relationship, up until that time. And that really, it broke me. Like, it hurt me so bad, just the relationship, what was going on between you and me. And then I also realized, I've got three other kids in this house, and I cannot let them see him win,
Mm,
because if I do, the next thing you know, like, it's four against one. It's four of
mm,
them against the one of me. And if I let them see him just be this way without any type of consequences or anything like that, then they're going to think that they can do the same thing. And it's going to be like an uprising. I can't have that. I will completely lose, control, because as a single parent, like, you got to have control of that
mm,
household. You got to have control of everything. You're the banker, you're the financier. I mean,
mm,
you manage, you're the house manager, the head of household.
mm,
So you're managing everything, and these kids wants and their needs, and how you gonna get it done. And it's just, it's just you, like, how are you gonna do it? Where's the money gonna come from? Who
mm.
can you call? What can you do? You can only cry so many tears, and then, you got to stop crying and figure something out. So
Yeah.
it was so heartbreaking. But I mean, I knew when you said you was leaving, and you said when you was graduating and you was getting out, you was leaving. It broke my heart, but I knew it had to happen.
Yeah.
And so I remember the day that you left. I remember that day. And when you went around that corner in the car, I cried like a baby. Like, I sobbed. I cried and I cried because of our relationship. But I knew you had to go in order for me to maintain control of the house. I knew that, that you had to go. So um it was very hard, but necessary. It was
Yeah.
necessary. It
Yeah.
was necessary.
And I remember just being gone. I said, I gotta go. I can't take it. Don't want to be here no more. And I ended up coming to RDU area, and trying to figure out my life at that time, and just full of testosterone and just my own smelling my own musk and all of that, and just trying to figure this thing out. I think I at the time I had just been smoking a lot of weed and drinking some alcohol, and I just had so much going on, and yeah, and my patterns were opening a door for my siblings that I knew would I had to cease, because I knew that they at least get out, because they were going to come up doing the same thing. And so we had already found remnants of blunts in the house, and we're having these conversations, and I barely graduated high school. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have graduated high school. And the Holy Spirit speaking to you saying, go check on your son and his grades, and I'm just gone, just gone. So the reason I bring that situation up was because that's real, and it's real life, and it is one of the things that's happening in homes right now, where single mothers are have multiple children, and the oldest, who may be a young man, is trying to find his way, and he's
Mm-hmm.
coming up, and he's got all of this testosterone right now. And what you just said about keeping control, especially when there's not a father in the house, and you really can't reach out to any other fathers in the church or etc., because this is, at this point, this is real time. It's real time. So for God to be able to see all of that, but then reroute us back in a relationship towards grace, I really, really feel that. Talk about going back to you as a person. Were you always a person that felt like being strong and having to take control, or always was able to kind of manage different personalities and think fast that way, or process very fast that way? Like, who is Chantel coming up? You know what I'm saying? Who is Chantel?
So no, I was not always that way. I probably growing up, it seems like such a short span because I had you at such an early age, and then I was married at such an early age. And so, it's like my whole life basically has been with children. But I can remember in junior high school, I didn't have very high self-esteem. I
Mm,
just didn't. Dark skinned girls, we were not in.
okay.
It was the light skinned girls with the long hair, and and so people they weren't kind to
Mm,
us. They called us black and all, just kind of things. And so I didn't have high self-esteem. But one thing I had was my mama would always tell me when I would come home and I'd be crying about what somebody called me black or whatever.
yeah.
She would say, "Baby, don't you even worry about it, because the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice." I remember she would always tell me that, and she would always sing me this little song.
Mm,
Chantelly lace with a pretty face, had a ponytail hanging down with a wiggle in a walk and a giggle in a talk. She makes the world go round, round, round. There's nothing I can do with a big-eyed girl that makes me act so funny, makes me spend my money, makes me feel real loosey like a long-legged goosey. Oh, baby, that's what I like. And she used to sing that song to me. So I had that support through
mm,
her.
yeah. Yeah.
But I still um, you know, I wasn't like a popular girl in
Mm,
school, but I hung with the popular girls.
gotcha.
And so just that really low self-esteem, it really just spilled over into my adulthood.
Mm,
In being married and getting divorced, which we may talk about, in a little bit or whatever. But it really spilled over because I do remember the exact moment in time that God spoke to me and clear all of that up for me. I
mm,
was I was divorced. We was living in Koki Road in Rocky Mount,
Oh yeah.
and guys had gone to school, and I was getting ready for work. And I was standing in the mirror. I was doing my hair, and I was like, Lord, I said, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why? I didn't understand why my marriage didn't work.
Got it.
And so I was like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with how I look? Like what's wrong with me? And he spoke so clearly to me and said, Chantel, I made you the way I wanted to make you.
Mm,
I gave you the pigmentation of your skin that I wanted you to have. I
mm,
made your eyes the way I wanted to make them. I made
mm,
your nose the way I wanted them. I made your lips the way I wanted to
mm,
make them. I made you the way I wanted to make you. And
mm,
there is nothing wrong with you. From
mm.
that day forward,
Yeah.
my self-esteem just began to build. So
Mm,
no, I was not I wasn't a person who, felt like they had to have control. I wasn't like a control freak. As a matter of fact, I was very soft, very tender. I let people run all over me, say
mm.
whatever they wanted to say. I just was a big crybaby. I was a big crybaby. And I just was a real um people pleaser. I was
Gotcha.
a real
Got,
people pleaser.
gotcha. Um, that's interesting. So that's happening. Is that happening through high school as well?
Through high school,
High school.
teenage, yep, because I had you when I was in high school. I had you
You-
my senior year.
I come senior year. You're 17.
I'm
You
16 when I get pregnant with you
ain't pregnant, and then you delivered me at 17.
at 17.
When did you get married? What age did you get married?
I got married March 21st on my 19th
On
birthday.
your 19th birthday, you were married.
Yes, I did. And when I got married, I was pregnant with Tia when I got married. So I had you and pregnant with Tia.
Now let me
When
ask you this question. So thinking about how did you process the decision to get married and handle the low self-esteem?
there was no thought, Brent, there was no processing, there was no thought. The pastor said, y'all need to get married. So that's what we did. And I don't know. I didn't really think about my self esteem because now here I'm trying, I'm 19 years old. I'm trying to know what a wife is, don't even have a clue.
Mm,
Um, Trying to be a mother. And up until that point, I had always lived home with my mama,
mm,
and my grandmama was there. So, mama, grandmama, Aunt Rosa, they all helped me with you.
got it.
So now I'm on my own, even though, they still kept you, sometimes and things like that. But, now I'm on my own as a wife and a mother, getting ready to be a mother again.
Yeah.
And it just was so much because we ain't have nothing. We ain't had nowhere to live. We was stay with my mama sometimes. We stayed with
Yeah.
your grandma Rose, sometimes.
Yeah.
We just it was just a mess until like I'm looking back on it now and I'm like, Lord, that was just a mess. Do you hear me?
Roller
But it but I made it happen. You learn I knew how to cook, but now I'm trying to learn how to cook what this man like
Yeah.
and stuff like so it just I did not have time
Yeah.
for thought for the next years of my life. I just did
You were
not
in
think
go
about
mode. You were in go mode.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you get married. You're in go mode. You got my sister Tia now. You and my father decided to go to Texas. Move to
Mhm.
Texas.
Mhm.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to talk about unexpected terms. So you're in Texas, and then what is a significant emotional event that happens there that alters your whole trajectory to single to be to this next phase of life for you?
So we began to, after some years, we began to have marital problems.
Okay,
And and then so and two children later.
got it.
So, while
So
we were
that
in
was me,
Texas,
my sister, my brother, and my baby sister. Okay,
yes. So Tia is 7 months old.
yeah.
I get pregnant with Hodijah. Hodijah is 10 months old. I get pregnant with Sethra. So by
Mm,
the time I'm 22 years old, I've got a husband and four kids at 22,
wow.
and living way halfway across the country from my mother,
Mm,
who had always been my rock, my family, who had
yeah.
always been my rock. I'm living halfway across the country, from them,
Mm,
um, having to go to people's house to use the phone because we didn't have one, right away, and
mm,
things, use the phone to call them and just talk to them, and things. So after about 6 or 7 years living there, we begin to have it just began to break down.
okay.
And so we decided, we had come to a point where we decided we were going to stay together. We were going to work on things, but we were going to leave Texas.
Okay.
And so we left Texas and we moved to Burlington, North Carolina, stayed with some friends. We were staying with friends until we were going to saving to get our own place.
Okay.
It was there that the marriage dissolved.
Got it. Got it. Got it. See, I never knew that. I never knew that. I thought
Yeah.
that was in literally. I thought it was in Texas, and then straight from Texas to Rocky Mount.
Mm-mm.
Know them in between. Okay. All right.
Burlington was in between. And so I remember the night that your dad and I had a conversation sitting outside in the car, and he said he didn't want to be married anymore.
Yeah.
And the thought, and the only reason why I bring that up is because of the thought that I had, which really is the thought that changed the trajectory of my entire life,
Mm,
which was, I said to myself,
hmm.
how in the world am I going to go back in there and tell those kids their daddy ain't never coming back home?
Mm,
Y'all were in their sleep. I didn't know how I was going to do that.
mm.
And those words were my exact thoughts. Like, there are some things I remember
Vivid.
specific. Yes, I remember the thoughts. I remember the words. I remember the feeling, the emotion of just being lost, like unglued.
Yeah.
Just, to me, that means, like when you just lose your footing and you
Mm,
just can't find your way. Like,
yeah.
you just been walking along life and something just comes and pow, like, just life just comes and it just busts you from the left, and you
Mm,
like what happened,
yeah.
And so we of course, told my family and everything. And so 3 weeks after that, we left Burlington. Of course, my mama said, come home,
I can hear her right now.
come home, bring my grandchildren home.
Yeah.
And up until this point, my mom hadn't really not even spent much time with Tia, Hody, and Sethra because we lived in Texas the
Got it.
whole time. So came home. We started doing some footwork to find an apartment and stuff while I was still in Burlington. Mom found me this place, and I came home. I stayed with her for a week, and the lady from Section 8 called me and told me that she said, Chantel, I never forget Miss Angela. She said,
Mhm.
Chantel, I have an apartment for you, a 4-bedroom apartment for you and your kids, not no man. I, I said, okay, Miss Angela. I said,
Yeah,
thank you. I was so grateful. And
yeah.
so we moved into Koke Road.
I
I'm
remember.
telling you, boy, we had some good times over there. We moved in there, and Brent, I'm telling you, our rent, because I didn't have a job, I had $300 to my name.
Mm.
$300 and 4 kids. No job, no car, no nothing.
Where'd you
But
get $300 from?
I worked when we lived in Burlington. I worked at the Liz Claiborne outlet store. And so I was working, we both were working, and I was putting my money in a little shoebox in the top of the closet, save, saving it for our place.
Wow.
So that $300, I took that $300 and I brought it with me and my
Yeah.
babies. And we came, and so we moved over there. My rent was $50 rent. I say we started from the bottom and now we here, baby. Okay. $50. That included the light bill
What?
and the water and everything. $50. I got over but almost $600 in food stamps. We weren't hungry.
Oh man. Mm.
And so we had, you guys had Medicaid, everything. I got everything that I could, you
Mm.
know, to help support my family. And mom and I would go to yard sales on Saturday mornings. We'd strike out like 5 o'clock in the morning because she used to get the newspaper and
Mhm.
she would mark them off like we're going here, then we're gonna go here and here and here. So we would strike out about 5 o'clock on Saturday mornings. Y'all were still asleep. I left you in the bed. We go to the yard sales, and that is how I started buying like stuff for the house. I bought
Mm.
a dinette table for $75. I remember that.
Is that
It
where you got the
was
orange couch? Did we have an orange couch or something like that? Wasn't like an
um
orange couch.
I want to say mama had given us that, but the
Okay.
very first one we had
No, you're
was
saying it had to be the first one. Yeah, yeah.
the first one was flowered. It might have some orange flowers in it. It was ugly, okay? But it was a sofa bed because I
Yeah.
didn't have beds for you guys yet. I had one, mom gave me a bedroom set.
Mm.
And so I had that, and well, I didn't have beds for you guys yet. So you all wanted to sleep. I tried to get you to come sleep in the bed with me, but y'all didn't want to. Y'all always love to sleep together. So y'all slept down on that sofa bed.
Yeah.
And this is another one of the things that I remember vividly.
Mhm.
The first night we stayed in Koke Road, when I laid my head down on that bed and I laid back, Brent, and I closed my eyes and I said, Lord, I thank you
Mhm.
that I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Mm.
I ain't got to worry about where nobody is at,
Mm.
when they coming home. I ain't got to worry about none of that. It's
Mm.
just me and my babies.
Mm.
I will never forget the peace that I had in that moment.
Wow.
It
Wow.
it was awesome.
You talk a lot about faith and God speaking to you in these vivid moments. How when what is when did you get saved or like embrace the Lord? You might be freezing a little bit. Might be some technical difficulty. Give me 1 second here. She's gonna come back in. Give us 1 second, y'all. A little technical difficulty. As we wait on my mother to get back, I thought that was kind of critical. Here she comes back in. She's coming. There we go. All
Little
right.
devil.
Yeah, ain't nothing but a little devil.
Ain't nobody scared of him.
Yeah. So faith, your salvation story, faith, and just it growing, just a growing faith in you that is because it seems like faith in God is holding you together at this moment. So when you remember getting saved.
I was 15 years old, and Steve Barnes.
Uncle Steve, what up? Shout
Steve.
out Steve Barnes.
Yes. Steve, because we went to church together, Morning Star, Church of Christ, Disciples of Christ.
Okay.
And Steve would come over to the house and see me and stuff. And Steve would, back then we'd be like, witnessing, that's what we called it. So
Mm.
they would go out witnessing and stuff. And so Steve would come over and witness to me and just tell me all about the Lord, and stuff like that. And I already, like, I was going to church, and
Yeah.
everything. But, he was just telling me about how I need to be saved and everything. And so I remember specifically this one time he came over and he was like, after he finished talking, he was like, "So you want to get saved?" And I was like, I said, "No, not yet." And he was like, "Okay." And so when he got ready to go, he was like, "All right, then." He was like, "Bye, devil's child." I will never forget he said that to me. And when he did, I was like, "Wait, wait, wait." I said, "No, I want to get saved. I want to get saved." So that's the story of how I got saved. Steve Barnes called me a devil's child, and I couldn't take it. I was like, "No, no, no. I want to get saved. I want to get
Oh,
saved."
oh, that's crazy. Let me ask you this, because faith has just been so important to you. You're back home. God has set you up. You're in Koki Road. Nothing to worry about. You have a peace, and you have 4 babies. You got 4 babies you're taking care of. What is it like managing? Because I know some single mothers have one child and it is tough. You have 4, 2 boys, 2 girls, and you're single, and you are trying to rebuild a life. You are managing so many things in addition to these 4 single, little different personalities. Where in the world are you now? Just like, what are you thinking about, your dreams, and I mean, just walk us through that.
So I would have to say that is it's funny that you would say, your dreams, because I think that is the first memory that I can have of dreaming,
Mm,
was that time. Because I had been a stay-at-home mom when I was married. I was a stay-at-home wife. I didn't work. I homeschooled you guys for like your first couple of years of school. You went to school, to public school, in the second grade, and so did Tia. Um, and so now being in this place, like, I got to go to work for one, for sure. And there was a lot that I just didn't know. The only jobs that I had ever worked, because remember, I'm young. Now, I was young when I got married. The only jobs I had ever worked was fast food, like as a teenager in school, and
Yeah.
everything. I got a work permit when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
Mama took me to get one because I was so eager to work and to buy my own school clothes.
Sound like
So,
me.
yeah. So, she took me to get the work permit, and so I got a job at Burger King was my first job. So I had worked at Burger King and Hardee's. That's all I had ever done.
Yeah.
And so now I have to go to work, but I'm thinking, well, I didn't want to go back to Burger King or Hardee's. So, and I didn't know anything about computers or anything like that. That's when the first like Apple computers came out. They were DOS Windows, DOS based and everything,
Mhm,
with the big
mhm.
green writing up there. And I knew nothing about any of that. So, I decided to take a class. Now, I did get a little job at an ice cream shop called Let's Eat Ice Cream. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
Let's Eat Ice
yep, yep.
Cream. I got a job there. I was working from 3:30 to 9:30 at Let's Eat Ice Cream, 3:30 in the evening to 9 at night. And I enrolled in a computer course for 3 months. And I
Mhm.
went to school from 9 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I got off work, out of school, went straight to work from 3:30 to 9:30.
Wow.
Now, the big uh lifter of my burdens of that time was my mama, because she helped me with you guys. So I didn't feel such a heavy load. You know what I'm saying? Because
Gotcha.
I didn't want to put my kids in daycare, because I'm like, I don't know these people, around here, and I don't. But baby, the first time somebody mistreat one of my children, right out, go get turned, slam out. You hear me?
Yeah,
And so, by me and my mama, all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
we riding up on somebody,
yeah.
and so we worked it out where mom, she kept you guys. I had a voucher from social services where I paid some of it and they paid some of it. So we went through the whole process of them getting her licensed and everything. And so she kept you guys while I went to
Uh,
school and
hold
while
on, hold on. So Mama got licensed.
to keep you up
Wow, wow,
through the
wow.
Department of Social Services. Yes.
What? All
So
right.
she kept you guys, and I could go to school and I could go to work and not have to worry about my babies because they was with
Wow,
their grandmama. Hmm.
wow.
And so I did that. But the thing of that, and that's why I said this was when I remember the first thoughts of dreaming,
Mhm.
because I said in my head that um there's got to be more. I want more, because I don't want me and my children to be a statistic that the black man leaves and the women and the children are on welfare forever.
Mm.
So I wasn't one of those people that, even though, yes, my rent was $50, yes, I was getting all these food stamps and stuff. And, yes, I had 4 bedrooms, one wonderful apartment. That wasn't enough for me. Like,
Mm.
I didn't want to stay there. So I did begin, you know, um, to dream. And because I had that support from, my family, it wasn't it wasn't a real burden at that time. It didn't become like a burden, so to speak, until we moved.
So now, okay. All right. So you're dreaming, right?
I'm dreaming. I'm
Dreaming.
making. I'm making strides. Like I'm moving from Let's Eat Ice Cream to a retail store.
Yeah.
I moved from a retail store I applied for a job at an insurance agency, Direct General Insurance. I go to work there. That's where I got my property and liability insurance license. That was how I did that in 1998. And so I just always knew that I wanted more, and I knew I didn't want to stay in Rocky Mount. I did know that. Even I think when I look back over my life, I think those are the best 4 years of my whole entire life. We had the best time
Yeah.
there. But I knew I didn't want to stay there forever because I just have, I guess because I moved away so early, I wasn't that attached to my family like that I wanted to, like live around them. I
Got
just wanted to I just wanted to go out in the world,
Was it a familiar place, or was that like safety for you, or just you
Um,
know some
what?
just being away? Was that like a safety or familiar place, a comfortable place, being away from family versus some people have to be in the family right there. That's their comfort zone. Maybe your comfort zone was away from the family because you moved so early.
Yeah, I think it was because of the fact that I was 20. I
Mm,
want to say when we moved to Texas. I was 20 years old. So just fresh, out of high school. I just graduated high school when I was 17, and so um 20 years old, I moved halfway across the country from my family, and
yeah,
I was gone for 8 years. So, you know what I'm saying? Yes, it was a comfort. I won't scared. You know what I'm
got
saying? I really had thought about staying in Burlington, but I couldn't. Mama was just like, no, come home. Bring the
yeah,
kids home. Let us help you. And
yeah,
so, I really was thinking, well, I ain't even gonna go back home now. I never wanted to go back home. I never wanted to go back home. I wanted to make it on my own. A determined I just was a determined person. I
yeah,
just have always been driven.
yeah. Now, so you get this opportunity to move from Rocky Mount, and we moved to Lawrenceburg, North Carolina.
Mhm.
All right, unexpected move, a wanted move, but unexpected move. Transitioning four kids. What is this? 90? So 99, ninety
Yep,
nine.
99.
We come
Mhm.
to we come to you know Laurinburg. So getting to Laurinburg, I remember the truck, us
Mhm.
sleeping in the back of the truck all the way to Laurinburg. I remember unloading all of the furniture into the home. Mama, Papa, everybody's there. Uncle Nick. And then I remember we said our goodbyes, and they get on the truck, and I'm like, for me, I'm like, we're here. But how did you feel? What were you thinking through? And like, just what did you know at that time? What were you sure about? What were you scared about?
I don't know what I was sure about. But I mean, I think it finally hit me then that, like I am out here like for real on my own with these kids, like with my baby. It's just me and them. Um, because I didn't know anybody there, and stuff. And so I always wanted to move somewhere where I didn't know nobody. I just wanted to start fresh.
Yeah.
And so I did have a job. I just transferred the job that I was at. I worked in the cemetery as an administrator, and I
Okay.
just transferred that to a cemetery in Laurinburg.
Okay.
So I did have a job, and that's where I began to meet people: Aunt Gloria, Uncle Will, Grandma Pat. Like that's where I met them, and they made the transition so easy
Mm,
because they became some like dear best friends even to, this day.
Yeah.
And we hung tight with them, at their house all the time and stuff, and eating, and they had kids, and Nisha Net and brother, now what I'm saying. So you guys had playmates, and things. And so I started, it took me some time because I really started feeling the
Mm,
lonesomeness.
I got
Started
you. Yeah.
feeling being away from, my family, being away from my mama
Yeah.
and stuff. But we used to go home like every weekend.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 I remember
We
some. Yeah.
moved there. We used to go home all the time, if not every other. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, Grandma Pat would put money in my hand, and she would, I mean, hundreds of dollars, and she'd be like, "This is for you and the kids while y'all on the road this weekend." So
Wow.
we went home, a lot, and everything, for a while
Yeah.
until we really got acclimated there and start, really getting involved into some ministry there, and things. And yeah, but it was, I I don't know what I was sure about, but I know I sure was nervous.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I know it had to be nervous, and I just can imagine you at that time moving your babies, going to Laurinburg, North Carolina, trying to figure out a way, chasing the dream of more, and then doing what you have to do. What I got two more bubbles I want to talk about, but what were your sacrifices that you had to give up? A lot. Being a single mother, single parent household. Like what were the sacrifices? You know,
Well,
not, maybe not all of them, but just because I know you. We know you made a ton. We just know you made a ton, but maybe sacrifice we don't know about. I don't know about. It's just it's your journey.
so I mean, one one that I can remember very vividly, because I know that I sacrifice every day, myself, of myself. And because when you have children, and especially when you are a single mother, it is not about, it's not about you. Life is not about you. It's about, well, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be about your children. And everything I did was my children motivated.
Mm,
I never, I was not, I wasn't the type of girl or mom where it, I I didn't go places my kids couldn't go. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? Wherever I went, y'all were rolling with me. You know what I'm saying? Every time somebody saw me, they saw me, with my children. And one sacrifice I can remember, because finances, just were so hard.
mm.
Um, every August, every August, I would get behind in my mortgage so that I could buy y'all school supplies.
Wow.
Every August, that without fail. Now that you can look back on it and just be like, like that was a pattern, it was, a trap. Or you can say, what hindsight is 2020. You can say what you want to say now, but
Yeah.
at that point in time, all I knew was my kids need these school supplies and they need school clothes. Four of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
School supplies alone were about $400. We ain't talking about the clothes, because book bags were about $25 a piece. So book bags for everybody alone was $100.
Mm,
We're not talking about all the pens and the paper and the notebooks and all the stuff you got to get on these lists that these teachers send home.
mm.
And then the clothes, shoes, y'all wanted shoes, you wanted a particular kind of shoes, you want a particular kind of clothes. And I just had to, I felt like I had to make that sacrifice and I had to do what was necessary
Mm.
um, for you guys, and that's why when you got, I mean, there were other times when I just didn't know where food was gonna come from, or because like I said, like I never wanted to live on welfare forever.
Yeah.
So, like I would get off or certify out and don't recertify. And, I'd be like, I'm gonna make it, like I'm gonna do this. And when times would get hard, I remember, I mean, you talking about tears, honey. I done cried some rivers. I done cried some oceans. But like I said earlier, it's only so much crying you can do. Like I had to tell myself, okay, Chantel, crying is over. Get up, make something happen. You got to make some phone calls. You got to do something because when these kids come home from school, they need to eat. They
Mm.
gonna want to eat when they come home. So you got to make whatever happens. So I get on the phone. Um, I will call social services. I call this place to do this or this place that does that, and I make it shake, rattle, and roll, and make it do what it do. So when y'all came home, you had what you had. I don't know if can you ever remember a time where like we didn't have no food, like that you was hungry
No.
or that you didn't get the shoes or the whatever it was that you wanted. Do you ever remember a time that you didn't have what
No.
you wanted to have?
No.
I was determined I wasn't going to let it happen.
Mm.
And so I did, what I had, what I had to do. But I do remember that is one sacrifice I made every August. And I sacrificed, yes, I as a single mom or single woman, I dated people, along the way and things like that. But I don't know. I really never thought about marriage again or anything like that because my focus it was on you guys.
Mm.
Like, you all filled my life.
Mm.
Like, it's busy. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
By the time I go to work all day and then I come home and then, you guys are there, you will latchkey kids. Y'all
Yeah.
have a key to come in the house and don't you go nowhere until I get home.
Right.
Call me when you get in the house, mama, we home. So, you will latchkey kids and I come home and now we're off to church and doing other things or sports, to one of your games or something like that. And so I still didn't know who I was though, Brent. You
Mm.
know, I just did not know. As long as I was raising children, I don't think I ever knew who I was. I
Mm.
remember I do remember one time we were in Texas, I had the thought, who am I?
Mm.
Because sometimes I would think about how some of my friends went to college and did all these things, and I just, came out of high schools and start having kids and got married and had a bunch of kids. I didn't go to college, and stuff like that. And I would miss that. I'd be like, I wish I had of, and everything. But I didn't have an identity. When somebody called me, when somebody wanted to talk to me,
Yeah.
I was Maurice's wife or Brent, Tia, Hodaja, and Cetha's mom.
Mm.
I was not They didn't call me.
No. Mm.
I wasn't Chantel.
Mm.
So I didn't know who I was. I'm just finding that out. I've been living what I call on my own now for 12 years, since 2012, since I moved to Fayetteville, because prior to that, I always had a child, children living with me. So
Mm.
I've been on my own now for 12 years, but still, even in that, within the last 2 years since my mom transitioned to be with the Lord, is when I'm finding out
Who
who,
you are.
yeah.
Yeah. Who you are. Um, I remember we were in Laurinburg, and I remember when our car got repossessed.
Oh my God, I remember that too. Lord, I do. Jesus.
And that was the first time as the oldest child. Cause see, the oldest in the home feels it, know what you kind of going through more so than the other siblings. And so that was the time where I felt what you felt and that pressure, and I remember that. And I've always, I think at some point had carried that,
Mm,
that pressure of always needing to uh, not try to let that happen again, and even now in my life, it's still a vivid memory. You just
wow.
you don't ever want that, and I knew it just seems like it just seems like when they were taking that Malibu down the road, I just felt, and now even I think about it right now, just like, you going to work with the kids, and just, you just feel so much of that. And it's, I guess the reason I bring that up is because I know that I just want you to know, like, I felt that, you know what I'm saying? I felt that and been able to carry that, I think, in a healthy way, but carry that. Will Smith said he still check his bank account. Oprah says she still check with the, like, because of the stories back that they've had and losing money and it's so you. I've always thought about it. To me, it's been a sacrifice too. But I've always felt that little pressure. So with that, I also want to ask you a question about what did we misunderstand about you as children, you know, and and then I'm gonna ask you twofold. What do we misunderstand about you as children, being our mother? And then what do single mothers misunderstand about motherhood?
Okay, good question. So I think what children misunderstand, or what you guys may have misunderstood about me, and I don't even know that if I would say misunderstood is the term, because
Mm,
you may not have been old enough to understand
got it.
or mature enough to understand. And what I believe that it was is that I had your best interests at heart,
Yeah.
and that I loved you, and I wanted what was best for you,
Mm,
and that I was trying my hardest to do it, to make happen what you wanted to happen,
yeah.
to make sure had everything you needed, that you had the things that you wanted, because I didn't want you to lack because you didn't have a father,
Yeah.
in the home. Um, and I think that may have been, but it may be because you just were not old enough or mature enough to understand, that my mom is, it, maybe when I punished or took things away or whatever, that I'm trying to teach you a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to teach you that you just can't go out here in this world and just act like this. You got to know how to treat people. You can't mistreat people. You got to be kind to people. You can't be fighting. You you got to love one another,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter what, you got to love one another, because at the end of the day, all you got is your family. At the end of the day, all you know what I'm saying, you have extended family now, because now you're married, to my wonderful daughter in love, and you have um children, and you have wonderful, wonderful in-laws that I'm so, incredibly grateful to, for just accepting you in their life like they have, and showing you some things that you didn't see, growing up, which was, a mom and dad
Yeah.
together in the home. But, you know, at the end of the day, at all, like your brothers and sisters, that's what you have.
Right.
And you, as a parent, you're just trying to guide your children, train them up in the way that they should go,
Mm,
so that when they're old, they won't depart from it.
mm,
And children may misunderstand and think you're just being mean,
mhm.
and you just won't give me this, when you may not have understood I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get it, but you get an attitude because you ain't got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as teenagers, honey, that make you want to like throw hands with some people. Like, we got to take this to the front yard, because I mean, you don't understand that I'm doing all, that I can do. I'm working jobs I ain't want to be at,
Yeah.
because I got to make a living, for you guys. So I think that might be the what you all may have misunderstood about me. And then what I single moms may misunderstand about parenthood or motherhood is that, like I said earlier, I think a huge thing is that it is not about you.
Yeah.
You might want um, me time, and I need some time. I want to be able to go do this with my friends, and that with my girls, and do all this kind of stuff. Well, what about your children? You know what I'm saying? You got to. I cooked square meals, for y'all. I didn't feed y'all, only no hot dogs and pork and beans and stuff like that. I cooked food for y'all and all your friends who would come, over to the house, and eat. That was important to me.
Mm,
And a lot of times I think we just, as women, because motherhood can be so much, it can
mm,
be so hard, it can be um just so much on you, on your head, on your heart,
mhm.
that you just want to break away. And I let me be the first to say, there was times that I just want to just run away.
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't think I could take it anymore, especially when all, because you all about the age, there's 5 years between the four of you.
Mhm.
So there was days I didn't think I could do it. Like, I just wanted to run away. There's days that I rode around the block several times before I came in the house after, when I got off work, because I already knew once I walked through these doors,
Yeah.
like, my life is over. It's
Mhm.
ma, 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 ma. And I think that, we have to keep the main thing, and that's raising our children,
Right.
mothers. That is the main thing. You brought them here. They deserve to be raised,
Mm,
and they deserve to be raised right. They
mm,
deserve to have your attention, your affection, your correction, your instruction. They deserve that. They deserve to have the best you,
mm.
the best version of you. Your children deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to understand that. And then I also think it's important for single mothers to know that it's okay to get help.
Yeah.
It's okay to receive help, from your support system, whatever it may be, whether it's family, whether it's church, whether it's your best friends, whether it's your next door neighbors, or whatever. It's okay to get help, and it's okay to have that occasional time, out with your friends, because you're a woman too. You're a person too, and you need an outlet sometimes. It's okay to do that occasionally,
Yeah.
not every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Not then you in the club on Thursday night.
Yeah.
No, you know, so you got to keep the main thing. And as long as you are raising children, baby, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, Mom, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, it
I
has.
know there's so much more we could talk about. I could bring you back. We could do a part two. Uh, you're the queen of
Absolutely.
all queens, and one thing I want to say, you did a phenomenal job raising us.
Thank you,
And
baby.
that's for me to speaking for all of my siblings, and knowing what I know now. And you did a phenomenal job. Uh, no lack for us. Tough times, you got us through because you were tough. And even just listening to your story even more intently tonight, I just realized you're very resilient, very faithful, but very resilient. And you just will not stop, at doing that. And my prayer for you is that God will uh, continue to bloom you, and the world, like I say, will know about you, whether that's through a book, whether that's through some awesome speech, whether that's through whatever God intends for that to happen. But tonight was about you. And so it wasn't about any success. I think you've been, my terms of success, maybe the most successful, coming what you've come through, the things you had to learn, the things that you had to do, the personalities you had to manage, the heart you had to have as a mother to move forward in unlikely circumstances when you didn't plan that for your life. But God has brought you through, and you've been faithful, and you did not let the plow go. And so I love you. I know my siblings love you.
Oh,
Uh, you're an incredible woman. Your grandchildren love you. The
no,
family, you know. And so I really thank you and appreciate you for coming on tonight. Any last words you want to drop? I want to go ahead and create that space for you to do it. Encourage anybody out there, leave a leader better than you found them, which I think you have done that through this entire show. But I want to give you space.
thank you so much, son. It has been awesome. It's been a wonderful time. I always enjoy, chatting it up with you and everything. And this was just another one of those times. And thank you for creating this moment, for women this month. And the other queens that you had on, I pay tribute to them this evening. And thank you so much for having me. I just want to encourage everybody to, it's simple. Listen, if you ain't in Jesus, you need to get in him, okay? Because that is the only way that I've been able to make it. It's the only way that I'm making it today.
Mm,
And it's because of him that I'm happy today. I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with what I'm doing in my life. I'm happy with who I am. I like me.
yeah.
You know, if I could be on the outside and I could look at me, I would say, "Yeah, I like her. Like she's she's sweet, she's nice, And so Jesus is the answer. That I can't give you nothing else. There are some things that you can couple with him that make it better therapy, all kinds of things. But listen, if you don't know Jesus in the pardon of your sins, honey, you better go back and repent again. So the song says, but you need to know Jesus. He is the answer for the world today. He is the way, the truth, and the light. And he is the light of the world. He came down and dwelt among men, became flesh,
Mm,
and he loves you. He is there for you no matter what you're going through. In the moments that you become unglued and you lose your footing in life and you just get pop stole by the enemy, he is there. He is there to lead you and to guide you through those moments to bring you to a place that you can lead. Even though you might be unglued, you can still lead, and he can put you back together again. So trust God, trust his word, never give up on God, because he'll never give up on you. And listen, stay in the faith and keep the faith, children of God. And if you're not a child of God, become one. Or else you're going to be, as Steve told me, a devil's child. You don't want that.
Ma, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody that has tuned into the Brentley Leadership Podcast. It's been an amazing night. Just a night of just a journey to my mother's story. Thank y'all for just staying on listening. This will go in the archives. This will be in the digital archives that one day our children's children will be able to go back and look at. And so I really appreciate everybody just hanging in there with us tonight. Thank you for supporting the podcast. You can go to YouTube, which is the Brentley Wright Leadership Podcast, and subscribe. You'll be able to catch the playback here on Facebook as well. Thank you all so much. Until next time, Queen Madness is officially over. Thank you to all the queens who came through and dropped it. And then my mother tonight closing out Queen Madness, the episode 6 edition. So this has been a powerful one. Until next time, your boy is out. I'll catch y'all on the next one at episode 7. Peace.